You're listening to The Early Morning Musician, the podcast for artists who burn the candle at both ends and build their dream while the world sleeps.
We're your hosts, Ryan and Carissa, your guides to staying inspired while you clock in and out of the daily grind. This is the podcast for artists writing songs in the hallways, hustling in the margins, and refusing to hit snooze on their creative callings.
If you're juggling chords and spreadsheets, melodies, and meetings, this show is your backstage pass to motivation, consistency, and the belief that you're not alone in the grind. Great job on that 9 to 5. Now, let's get you pumped for that 5 to 9.
Because building a music career isn't easy, but you don't have to do it alone. Here's to turning your day job blues into creative gold, right here on The Early Morning Musician. Guys, welcome back to The Early Morning Musician, Season 2, Episode 2. We are super stoked that you are here. We did not invite our cat, Bacon, for this episode, because in the last episode, the thing that I edited out that none of you saw was that our new cat, Bacon, knocked a ton of crap over while we were shooting the last episode. Literally knocked a light over, knocked a sound panel over, knocked my microphone over. We had to literally start over and start recording everything again. And I didn't lose my temper.
No. And it was so crazy because it was the episode where we were talking about how completely asleep he was. It was like bedtime Bacon.
Chill.
He was. And then all of a sudden he got up and he pounced on that sound panel and knocked everything over like dominoes.
Yep. I did a good job keeping it together though. And we finished it. And guys, we're stoked that you're back. We're here. We're doing it again. Carissa, why don't you tell the good people what we're talking about today?
So on this episode, we're talking about the art of saying no.
Oh, the art of saying no.
The art of saying no.
Listen,
when it comes...
I'm getting good at this.
Oh, Ryan is so good at saying no, you guys.
I can say no to everything and everyone all of the time.
Ryan's been good at this.
I want to say no. My default is no. If you want me to do something, it's no. If you call me, I'm not answering. If you ask me to do something with you, no. If you want to do something nice for me,
no.
But it involves me doing something to get the nice thing,
no.
I'm just going to say no. It's always no. I don't want it to ever be yes. Even if I want it, I will find a way to say no because it feels better to say no than to say yes.
Yeah.
It just feels better. I don't know how to explain it. I love to say no.
The energy conservation, I think, is what it is for you.
I think it's the introverts, anything where I have to work with another human being. You know, even tonight, before we shot this podcast, someone called me. And as they're calling me, I look at Carissa and I say, here's who's calling me. Should I answer? It's 7:40. It's 7:40 p.m. I was saying that to her like, it's late. Someone's calling me at 7:40 and she was like, Ryan, you need to answer when people call. Wrong decision. I answered and guess what? It was awkward. It was awkward. It was awkward. It was an awkward time. I had to come back and tell my wife about the awkward time and I was right. I should have said no. I learned my lesson. So we're here to help you because learning to say no, if you're creative, it's almost more powerful than saying yes.
Yeah, because saying no is saying yes.
It's saying yes intentionally.
Yes.
Right? Because you cannot give things your yes if you do not give other things your no.
Mm-hmm.
If you spread your yes out, and if you give everything your yes, really nothing has your yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, powerful.
Saying no consistently gives you the ability to say yes consistently to the thing you actually want to build.
That's right.
And we get it. We're going to talk for a minute about why saying no is hard.
Yes, we get it.
Saying no feels...
It's hard for Carissa. It ain't hard for me. I can say no, baby. I got you no queued up. I'm about to say no right now. I don't even know who's asking me for anything.
I know.
No.
I have friends who really, really deeply struggle with saying no.
I don't get it.
I feel like
just say no.
I'm getting better at it, but
that's debatable.
It's hard to say no when it's something you don't want to do. It's hard to say no when it is something that you want to do. There's the fear of disappointing other people. Like, say I don't want to do this thing.
You tell me, why do you struggle to say no? Like, I feel like I'm about to hit this from a totally different angle than you're going to hit it from, because I'm like, no. I'll hit you with that no, baby. I mean, the moment you walk up to me asking for something, it's negative.
Yeah.
But you struggle. So let's talk about it. Let's see if Ryan can help Carissa.
Well,
say no. Why is it hard to say no, Carissa?
Fear of disappointing people.
Who are you going to disappoint? Who are these people that are they're so desperate for your time that if you don't give it to them,
I mean,
their whole world's going to shatter.
This is general, you know? So like maybe a hypothetical situation.
Let's hear it.
Would be.
Yeah, but it's got to be a realistic one though. Not like Donald Trump calls you or something.
Okay.
Like, if the president calls, all right.
Like your boss asks you to stay late and work on something that's not part of your job.
Oh.
And you know if you stay late, you're not going to be able to wake up the next morning and work on your art.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't want to do that. You really don't want to stay late and work, but you also don't want to say no because you don't want to disappoint your boss. You don't want to look bad. You don't want to have a confrontation.
Yeah.
But then there are those of us who don't want to say no because we're really afraid of missing out on something great.
Yeah.
You know, there's the hangouts that we might miss.
What's the thing that you struggle with the most? Like, because you obviously you don't have like a corporate, clock in, clock out kind of job. Ain't nobody asking you to stay late, but you do definitely have friends and, maybe have some FOMO.
I mean, to be honest, the thing that I struggle with saying no to the most are like other creative expressions that I could be doing.
Really?
When I'm giving like a really strong yes to I'm building something with this. I'm songwriting. I'm being consistent.
That's pretty new though for you, I think. Having other artistic expressions that take priority over this,
I mean, I don't know. Like I've always been into like poetry and, self-publishing and, et cetera. There's always been something that was also in my mind on the back burner, and there's only a certain amount of time in the day. And if I'm going to give a yes to this pursuit, I probably can't give a yes to this pursuit. And I don't want to miss out on not being able to do all of it. So saying no is hard.
Okay. Yeah, I can kind of meet you there because I think it's the same thing. Well, kind of. We've thrown around the idea of doing a few different businesses here and there throughout the years. And it has always felt like if we do that, we can't do this. You know what I mean? And it definitely in the beginning, I think everyone experiences that. Like, because time is limited, resources are limited, and the thought of building something from scratch, one thing feels really hard, two things feels impossible.
Yeah.
Like impossible. So how could you say yes to music and yes to starting another business on the side? That they're both super duper hard as is.
Yeah, absolutely. But we've got to reframe no as a positive act.
Yeah.
We've got to reframe it not as rejection of these other things that we could be doing.
Yes.
But redirection towards our biggest priorities.
Yes.
So in your case,
no. Don't let them trick you. They'll trick you into yes.
In Ryan's case, he's a really all or nothing guy anyway,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So when Ryan decides to do something, he's 100%.
I just do the heck out of it.
I just in.
Do it.
So why don't you talk for a couple minutes on the way it feels,
how it feels
for you to make a really strong decision about what you want to do, and this is what you're going to do for the long term, knowing that you're not going to be able to, I remember when we were talking about doing Geraldine, you said to me, what if I could just like do something that would make a lot of money? You remember that?
Yep.
Why don't you talk a little bit about saying no to everything else and choosing this?
Oh yeah. I'm extremely all or nothing. It's everything in our life. For me, like picking up around the house. That's one of those things where I'm very all or nothing. Like I'll go through phases where I just leave crap everywhere all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go through phases where I'm like way too intense. And I'm like, everyone clean this house a bunch, like really intense. It's just all or nothing. I don't know if I'm choosing that. I don't know. It's just the way it is. And in terms of saying yes and saying no, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I'm an extremely simple person. I just know what I want.
But how are you so sure? How are you so sure that you can, it's like getting a tattoo,
Mm-hmm.
How are you so sure that you want to say yes to this every day at the cost of saying no to who knows what else?
Because I know what I want. I know what I ultimately want. And I know that I cannot have the things I want unless I move towards them. And I'm such a simple person. I really just want a few things in life. Like there's literally, I could probably name them. There's less than 5 of them. And as long as I can check those 5 boxes, I'm happy. Like I'm good. So like if someone asks me to do something and it interferes with me checking one of my 5 boxes, I'm just like, no, sorry, I cannot do that. Like that just does not work. That's not fitting into my plan. I'm not, I don't feel any sense of obligation. It's like when someone texts me and I have I don't know. I guess it is a controversial opinion about whether or not you should respond to someone who texts or calls you. I personally, I do not feel at all obligated to respond. I don't. I just don't. If you text me, I might respond, I might not. If you call me, I might answer, I might not. Now, that doesn't apply to work, obviously. That's a totally different ball game, in case my work's watching. But if you call me personally, probably won't answer. I probably won't. It seems like when I answer, things go south fast. So I probably won't answer. And I don't feel any sense of obligation. I just don't. Like, there's nothing in me that feels a pressure of like, oh, someone tried to contact me, and if I don't respond, they're going to be mad at me. Like, go ahead. Like, if you're going to get mad at me for not responding, I don't care. Go ahead.
You're making yourself sound so crazy right now.
It just is what it is. Like,
what would you say to someone who?
It's not gonna.
What would you say to someone who, doesn't know what they want as clearly as you do, and
Figure it out, guys. Life is short. You die young. No, I'm just kidding.
They're trying to really straighten out their priorities.
If you're trying to figure out what you want in life, say yes to lots of things. Like that's what you do in your early 20s. Say yes to lots of things. Like get a lot of experiences, move out of your hometown, go to college, start a band, travel, be poor, be broke, do all those things. Like spread yourself thin, get exhausted, and then sleep it off and wake up the next day and decide what you want out of life. And then once you know, like choose those things, like pick those things. And that's what I'm constantly doing is I feel like I'm constantly picking the same 5 things over and over. Like I'm just, you text me, you might not be on the list, guys. I'm sorry. You might not be one of the 5 things on my list. And like my life is super duper full from the moment I'll get up at 4 or 5 in the morning until I go to bed late at night with my lovely bride. And now we scroll Red Note together instead of TikTok. And that's just the way it is. And there's nothing else I can do for you. So I just don't feel obligated to respond beyond, the 5 things that I want in life. That's not to say I do respond. I'd say to most people, but probably not as quickly as someone else might. Like if you text me, it might be a week before I respond. It might be, it might be a few days. If you're lucky and it's a Saturday and I'm off and I'm just sitting on the couch and you text me, yeah, if I'm doing nothing, I'll respond. But if you text me and I'm neck deep in work and I've got to, put my kids to bed that evening and then something's due that week and I got to mix all night long, I'm probably not going to respond. And it's not because I don't like you. I do like you, but I have to give something my yes. And if you let life take your yes from you, it will. Like there's just enough things to spread your time around that you won't accomplish anything. And I feel like this is really common sense. Like there's only enough time to do like a few things with your life. It's extremely short, very finite, and you just have so much time. So like, what do you want to do with it? Because you're getting one go at this thing, and then off to the next. So like, are you going to use your time, or are you going to just give it all away to other folks? And like, I just know what I want. That's just it. I know what I want. It's not easy to say no when you know what you want. I could do it right now.
For me, there was something about getting older that clarified what I wanted for me.
Do you think it was just life experience? Like you lived enough life to know what you want? Or do you think that it was something else, something more abstract, like maturity?
No, I think it's the realization that you're getting older. Like
you're just good old fashioned fear. I'm about to die, so I better get to work.
The realization that you're getting older really clarifies, like, hang on, wait, what is it that I'm not getting to do that I want to do? What is it that I've actually always wanted? That clarifies real quick, I think, the older you get.
Would you say that hit at 30?
I think that I think that it really hit after I had kids. There was something about having kids. So maybe it's not age, maybe it's like milestones. Something about having kids made what we wanted to do with our lives feel much more serious and much more urgent. And, I think we've talked about this before. I think people who don't pursue creative work, like, when I say creative work, track with me, like people who don't pursue art or something, people who are pursuing XYZ kind of normal work. I think they decide what they want to do earlier than creative types.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that they definitely are doing what they want to be doing before they have kids. But I find creative types, I feel like I see this all the time. They are in their mid-20s, they're in their late 20s, and they know they want to be musicians or whatever. They've got no idea how to get there. And so during their day-to-day life, they're just biting off random, I'm pressure washing houses now. I'm doing a photography business. They're trying to find something that they could do with their time that will enable them to do what it is that they want. And while they're in the mix of all those pursuits, it can be easy in your 20s to lose the thing you actually want, I spent so much more time in my 20s doing photography than I did what I actually wanted to do.
Yeah, I do not understand people who pursue, this is going to sound funny. Oh, I can hear the cat. You hear the cat?
Mm-hmm.
I do not understand people who pursue normal jobs. I cannot wrap my brain around it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like my choice is right and anyone else's choice is wrong. Do whatever you want to do with your life. I cannot get my brain. I could never get my brain to do that. I don't know why. It's just not in me. Like the thought, I know there are so many other like things you can go into. Like I could have went into finance, right? I could have been the finance guy everybody's saying about on TikTok forever, trust fund, the thing, blue eyes. I could have wore blue contacts. But I would rather not. You know what I mean? I would rather not spend every day poring over spreadsheets. Even if I made so much money, I wouldn't know how to spend it. That just sounds like a terrible existence to me. Not to crap on anyone who, are in finance. You're probably making way more money than me. Like it's totally, like I get it. Like kudos. But like the day to day, I don't get how people choose those jobs.
Yeah.
But people obviously do. Like we have to have people who choose those jobs for like, for us to even have creative jobs. Somebody's got to do the finances, but how do you choose that?
At risk of sounding like this is a super privileged take, like people have to choose those jobs in order to make money. And we are included in those people. Like we have normal jobs. And, I figure we choose them for the reason everybody else chooses them. It's
and
just
I don't
because
know. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I understand people who have to choose what they have to choose, but there are people who like actually choose it though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there are people who actually choose
like
some of these.
I've always wanted to be an accountant.
Yeah, I guess. Because there are some people who do accounting so well that they, I bet they got a TikTok, but they got into creation. Like they got into teaching courses on how to do it. It's just, I don't get it. I don't understand how you get I don't know. I don't know that I could ever want it enough to do what it takes to get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that has my no.
Yeah.
I ain't doing that. Negative.
Right. So do you ever feel like, do you ever feel the fear choosing something wholeheartedly, giving thousands of hours to it? You've chosen music, you're giving thousands of hours to it, and you're looking down the lens of like the next 5 years or, who knows how long I'm going to give this such a strong yes. Do you ever feel the fear of like, am I going to regret this? Is this going to be a huge waste of time?
Yes, but I feel like I've kind of hedged my bets on this because I have a regular corporate job and I work unbelievably hard at it. Like I work really hard at it and I get better at it all the time. And so it's kind of like I know what has to be done and I do it because I'm responsible. Like I've got a family to feed. Like I will do it. That's why I wake up and work in the mornings. And I'm not working all day long. That's why we have a house, because I could buy a house and like I want to live in a house. Like I want the normal things enough to like.
Are you saying like I won't regret pursuing my dream because I did my responsibilities well?
Yeah. Like I've got my responsibilities covered. I've got my career covered, and like I'm even making progress in that arena too. You know what I mean? And
do you
also
think that
pursuing.
You might ever feel in the future like, man, I spent so much time doing, my art dream, my creative dream, when I could have just been like relaxing?
No, because I don't want to be just relaxing. I truly love making music. So even if I just took all the time that I worked on music, and I said no to music and I said yes to relaxing, I would be far less happy because I've done that before. I've been through seasons of life and years where like I didn't really necessarily do much and I did not like it. I was not a better dad. I was not a better husband. Again, we felt that, like I think we talked about in the last episode, that like under that low underlying like, shouldn't I be doing something? Like if I want something other than the norm, shouldn't I be doing something? And so like I'm happy to wake up early and work on music. I'm happy to stay up late and work, when I need to. It's not a problem. Like it has my yes, and other things don't, other things just don't. So like I give out a lot of no's that I'm sure some people don't appreciate. And, that sucks. That sucks for those people.
One last kind of question that I'm having around this is, before we were consistent, we spent a lot of time relaxing, and
so much time relaxing.
Even though we said we wanted to do music, we didn't want it like on a day-to-day basis enough that it was like the hobby that we wanted to do. We wanted to actually scroll on our phones because that's what we chose. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. I mean, you are doing what you want to be doing. Obviously that's more the case when you're older. And of course, there are things that you cannot choose. You're like health
so there's
stuff,
something about discipline. Maybe it's like working out. It's like, I don't want to do this, but I do.
Right.
How do you look down like the line at, I'm going to give 5 years of extreme consistency, extreme discipline. I'm going to do it when I don't feel like doing it. I do enjoy it. I do love it, but it doesn't always feel like I love it or like I want to do it. How do you make yourself, continue to say yes when on a day-to-day basis, on like a micro level, you want to say no?
I think I've just had enough experience on both sides to know. Like I've chosen to not do it enough to know what that feels like and to know who I become and like the way that my internal world feels. And I know what it's like to be disciplined and to create and to have something to show. And for me, that's just an easy decision to make. It's like, yeah, I've lived both of these. I have enough experience in both to know that like one makes me better in every area of my life. My inner world's better. Socially, I'm a better person. I'm a better dad. I'm a better worker. And in one of these other scenarios, I'm just not. I'm kind of like I'm doing what is required of me, as a human being, but like I'm just not really showing up in the same kind of way. So it's, for me, it's just quite easy. Like, I've lived both enough that I know what I want. And it comes down to this for me. Like, let's say, even if I did all of this stuff and had no success at all, zero, like I never made not even a single penny from all of this. The truth is I just love to be creative. And like, if that's all that it is, that's all that it is. You know, like, I would be okay with that. And I would enjoy that life much more, of like pursuing and like the expectations and like hoping in something and just trying. I would prefer that reality 1,000 times over a reality where I just get to relax a bunch more, but there is no hope. There is nothing. You're not pursuing anything. You're not doing anything. You're not thinking about the future or the possibilities of like what could be. And I thrive on that idea of what could be. I love to think about what could be. I think that's ultimately what drives me, even to make songs. Like, I get in here and I start tinkering around with different instruments, and then all of a sudden I have an idea of what could be. And I'm like, ooh, that's exciting. Let's do that. Let's put in those instruments and see what happens. And all of a sudden you put in the instruments, you sing the melodies, and like, it comes to life. And it's like, I'm taking these little moments, I'm taking 3 and 4 minute moments of what could be, and I'm using them to bolster up a much larger what could be in my own life. So it's like, it's easy to say no. I can say no to anybody. I can do it all the time. I'll just say no. Ask me to do something fun, I'm gonna say no, y'all.
So in so many words, you just said, it's better to hope and be disappointed.
Oh, yeah.
Than it is to not hope and not try.
It is, guys. It just is. So, like, if that question's on your mind, like, just hope and be disappointed. It's just better. It just is better.
Invest the time.
Do
the
it.
long haul.
Yeah, just do it.
Say yes and say no.
But mostly no.
Yeah.
It's mostly no's and it's a few yeses.
And you won't feel the regret of missing out in the end.
No, I don't.
When it's what you really love.
No, I don't think so. I don't think I will. I think like, yeah, I'm gonna do the stuff. I'm gonna be responsible, but I'm gonna create and hope, and that's fun. That's just fun. Like, if you show up at the end of your life and you have, Mark Zuckerberg dollars, but you had to spend your whole life in spreadsheets. No, thank you. No, thank you. I just won't do it. I just won't do that. I just won't do that. So.
Well, thank you for letting me interview you there at the end.
Thank you. She's like, this guy needs to get a job. I wish this guy would make more money so that we could have a bigger house.
That is season 2, episode 2.
Yes.
Of The Early Morning Musician.
Yeah.
And we want to hear you guys' thoughts on this. Sometimes we get down into like such a micro, gritty level of our process and our thoughts around creativity.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think to myself, when I say that I feel guilty or that I feel pressure around my art or that I'm afraid of missing out or that I'm afraid I'm going to regret investing in it, are those emotions that other people feel besides us? I think that they are, but I would love to hear from you if this resonates and if this makes sense. And if you liked this, then please like it, subscribe, and share it with your creative friends. And visit us over on YouTube, where Ryan's giving some kind of educational videos about how he redid this studio.
Yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff going on YouTube.
And I guess visit us on Red Note.
Visit us on Red Note. Guys, Red Note's a blast.
I don't know.
Can't say it enough.
I mean, some people are saying that President Trump will reinstate TikTok in a few days, but...
Even if he does, though, I'm just like...
By the time this goes live, we will definitely know. And we will definitely be back on.
We should be like a week into a Trump presidency, so,
So if TikTok is back on and we get to keep our accounts, I guess we'll be there
we'll keep TikTok alive, but I don't think I'm going to abandon Red Note. They're too nice and the food looks too good. I've got to get my hands on some of that. So if you have some Red Note food, send it to me. Otherwise, guys, we will catch you on the next one.
All right. See you guys later.
See you guys next time.
Bye-bye.